as the Terps welcome in the 1-1 Oregon State Beavers, and there is a look at President Barack Obama and the First family. His brother-in-law, Craig Robinson, the head coach of Oregon State, and once again, he has brought his Beavers into the neighborhood of the White House. Hello and welcome to College Park. I'm Eamon McEnany. Happy to be joined by Len Elmore. Andy Katz is with us here tonight as well. And Len, this is an important non-conference game for two programs looking to get back into the NCAA tournament, but just a little extra buzz as well.
Yeah, well, heightened anticipation, heightened buzz, heightened security. You know the First family's here, but there are also two basketball teams here looking to make strides, as both haven't been to the postseason in a long while.
Maryland in the home white, Oregon State in the road orange, and there is a look at Craig Robinson.
And when I say postseason, we're talking about the NCAA tournament, as both of them have been, Maryland in the NIT last year and Oregon State in the CBI.
Our officials tonight, Carl Hess, Ray Natilli, and Tim Ebersol. Both teams come in with records of 1-1 after dropping their openers. Maryland coming off a win over Abilene Christian, Oregon State holding off Portland. It'll be Victor Robbins for Oregon State jumping up against Shaq Clear, and Oregon State wins the tip and goes to work first.
Well, Maryland's starting out in man-to-man, and the one guy they have to pay attention to, Roberto Nelson, number 55 for Oregon State, being guarded by Nick Faust. Faust's a pretty good defender, but Nelson has been outstanding in the last two games.
And here he is with the ball. This is the matchup Len was just talking about, but Collier now goes baseline on Clear, back to his left, can't hit, and Clear grabs the rebound.
Well, I know that Oregon State, after talking to Craig Robinson yesterday, they're looking to go inside often and early, trying to get the bigs of Maryland in some foul trouble. You saw right there Collier trying to make a move to draw fouls.
20 to shoot for the Terps, knocked away, and a turnover. This is Nelson attacking the rim, and the Beavers have the early lead.
Well, out of the 2-3 zone that Oregon State was playing, you would think that Maryland would take a little more time and not be careless with the passes, but once again, the turnover bug continues to bite Maryland. Maryland averaging about 15 turnovers a game. That's what they averaged last year, and they wound up maybe 290-something as far as the turnovers are concerned in the NCAA rankings.
Faust open in the corner, can't hit. Barton with the rebound for Oregon State.
Maryland's got to realize they're going to beat that zone inside out, not necessarily from the perimeter in.
Barton loses it, Lehman up ahead to Faust. An errant pass, and Nelson lets it go out of bounds. Time now to take a look at our one-on-one in both teams with singular go-to guys.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to make any kind of dent in their schedule to get to the NCAA tournament, they're going to rely on the guys who do everything. Roberto Nelson has been spectacular. Des Wells, because he's had to play point guard, really hasn't had a focus on his offense. They need him offensively.
Wells running the point as Nelson can't hit. Clear with another rebound because Seth Allen suffering a broken bone in his left foot at practice on October 29th. So it's kind of been patchwork at the point.
Yeah, and I really think that that's taken an awful lot out of Des Wells, trying to focus not only on putting points on the board, but getting others involved.
Here's Smotrich, the transfer from Michigan. Faust changes his mind. Somehow that wasn't a violation, and he gets it back. Just like they practiced, Len.
Yeah, that's what every coach practices. Throw it up in the air if you think you're going to walk.
Quickly the other way, a block by Wells.
You know what the name of this play is? Huh?
Oops.
Huh? Hey, you make it work any way you can.
Yeah, you put a smile on your face anytime when that goes in. So here's a hold away from the ball on the inbounds. And I think I'm required by the Broadcasters Union to ask you about freedom of movement and the new rules and the new emphasis, not the new rules, the new emphasis.
Well, I tell you what, again, teams are looking to try to adjust. And if you look at the fouls, it's been called inconsistently, I think, or lack of calls. It's been inconsistent over the course of the season thus far.
The first whistle was on Clear. That one was on Smotrich.
And I think the NCAA, you know, their officials in the administrative area who lord over these officials are imploring these guys to call what you see. And you got to call when a guy's hand is on another on the ball handler. You got to make that call. When you see arm bars or chipping of cutters through the middle, you got to make those calls.
Vaughn Collier, the senior out of the Bronx in New York City, was suspended for the first game of the year. Returned for a double-double in the win over Portland, but he misses both. Now Lehman, who's been a spark plug in the second half for the Terps so far.
And that's the call right there. The official, Ray Natili, making the call, hand in the back. And that was a hand in the back of a receiver, not necessarily the ball handler.
Lehman open, can't hit. Good block out by Collier.
Collier's outstanding rebounder. 11 points, 11 rebounds in his first game back from that suspension against Portland.
There he is on the block, going to work on Clear, a double. And Nelson. Collier from the baseline. In and out.
Good shot, good ball movement, good delivery by Nelson.
Clear down low, clears out. Gets called for steps.
Well, there's good news and bad news. Obviously, the bad news is Shaquille Clear missed that shot, and Maryland sorely needs him to be active offensively inside, provide some balance. I'm sure that's what the president's thinking right now. But the good news is he's making moves. And you got to make a move to the basket in order to draw a foul. Nice pass there.
Collier, the beneficiary with the bucket. Nelson, the assist. Wells flashes to get open and shoots and hits.
Excellent execution against the 2-3. That's the sweet spot right there at the free throw line and underneath. Because the back guy in the 2-3 zone has to make a choice. He stays back, you knock that shot down.
Nelson splits the double and hits.
That young man's not shy. He's confident, and he puts it up where he has a chance. Rarely does he take a bad shot.
A long three from Smotrich. Wells there for the putback. And then Lehman, the slam.
You think of Jake Lehman as a three-point shooter, but that young man has some ups.
Came off the bench, and now he knocks it away. Wells loses it, but there's a whistle. All even at 6 early on in College Park. We're back after this.
Congratulations. Be sure to have a Capital One bank card for the next game. You could be our lucky winner.
Welcome back to College Park. Eamon McEnany along with Len Elmore and Andy Katz. 15:50 left to play in the first half. Oregon State and Maryland tied at 6. And Len, in our open, we talked about both of these programs. their fan base expects to be in the NCAA tournament, and you hear the term drought around them. We were even talking before the game. We were almost stunned that it's been so long since Oregon State has been in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, we're talking 1990. And, it's tough to get back on the beam, but I think Craig Robinson has them pointed in the right direction. The problem is last year, they had an opportunity to do some damage, but a couple of early season injuries, one to Angus Brandt, the other to Gomez, the big fella inside, 6'10", and it really set them back. They also, at the beginning of the season, they had to play without Jared Cunningham, a guy that they counted on because Cunningham opted to go to the NBA. This year, same thing, missing a key cog in Eric Moreland, who was suspended 16 games for violation of team rules.
So Nelson picks up the foul. Talk about Moreland's suspension last year, 73 blocks, setting a new school record.
Yeah, he's one of the best shot blockers and defenders in the Pac-12. And certainly he keys their defense. So a very valuable player, got himself in trouble and not only hurt himself, but hurt his team.
Both coaches going to the bench. Charles Mitchell has it now. He's out there for Maryland. Reed and Gomez out there for the Beavers. Mitchell has provided plenty of energy off the bench, maybe more importantly, rebounds and points. Now Smotrich with the shot clock down to 7, drives off the glass, and there's Mitchell cleaning up on cue.
I'll tell you what, Charles Mitchell playing like a man possessed over the last couple of games, particularly scoring. That's not exactly what Maryland expected of him this early in the season, but he's done a terrific job, averaging 13 points a game.
Nice pass inside, and Gomez hits. So Nelson came in with the reputation as a scorer, but now distributing here in the first half.
Well, he leads his team in assists, 5 assists per game. I mean, that's what we mean about the do-everything kind of guy, averaging 30 points in these last 2 games coming into this one. 5 assists, 4 rebounds, shooting almost 50% from the field, 81% from the line. You'd say that Roberto Nelson does just about everything. There's Eric Moreland right there. Long, lean, excellent timing, outstanding rebounder, second in the Pac-12 last year, but suspended for that number of games. So it won't be until conference play starts in the middle of that before he's able to get on the floor. And who knows whether or not Oregon State will be in the hole or not.
So steps called on Reed. Roddy Peters, the freshman from Maryland, out there for Mark Turgeon. He has the ball right now. Layman waiting for it, releases and hits.
Jake Layman, the hot hand. 7 for 12 from beyond the arc this season thus far.
You saw it in person last Friday night in Brooklyn. He really got Maryland going in that game against Connecticut.
He certainly did on both ends of the floor. Solid defense and then able to knock down some shots.
And Nelson again going to the hoop with force, draws the foul.
Foul for 10, Jake Layman, his first, 4th on the team. Roberto Nelson is the line for Oregon State.
We welcome those of you who have enjoyed the stunner with Belmont over North Carolina. This is the ACC on ESPN. Maryland hosting Oregon State. Eamon McEnany along with Len Elmore and Andy Katz. And yes, the first family has made the trip from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Barack Obama's brother-in-law, the First Lady's brother, Craig Robinson, the head coach, of course, of Oregon State. Not the first time the Beavers have made the trip to the Beltway. And for more on that story, we bring in Andy Katz.
The key numbers here are 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oregon State's played in front of President Obama 3 times, and they're 3-0. This is the 4th time that President Obama has seen Oregon State in person. This is the 5th time they played a game in the Beltway, and the 6th time that they've been here in the area, because last year they did a community service project. Remember, in their first game, they played another team from the state of Maryland. That was Coppin State. They lost at home. Gladly, they would take a win over this team from the state of Maryland. They need this one badly. Back to you guys.
All right, Andy, and far be it from me to say it's not a bad recruiting pitch to say come play at Oregon State and you get to go check out the White House.
There's no question about it. You can only do that, though, for a couple more years. But in the end, I mean, you're sitting here thinking about it and absorbing that win by Belmont over North Carolina. And it's not surprising. Obviously, Belmont a couple years ago, 1 possession away from beating Duke in Cameron. But that's, today's upset Saturday. Indiana State beats Notre Dame at Notre Dame. Mid-majors, so-called mid-majors cry about not being invited to play these teams, let alone those teams, so-called major teams, playing them at their place. But they keep winning like this. They're not going to get any more invitations. Just a tribute to the parity in college basketball. You'll love to see it, unless you're
Notre Dame or North Carolina.
Unless you're Mike Bray and Roy Williams. That's right.
So Shaq Clear back on the floor. Lehman gets a break. A look at Coach Robinson. Interesting story. Before he got into coaching and back into basketball, he was in the world of finance, and he used that experience to talk to his team before the Portland game, saying, it's basketball schedules like riding a good trade. You got to ride it as long as you can and optimize it.
That's right. You got to buy low, sell high.
If it were only that easy, both. Now Faust. Freshman finds Clear for the dunk.
Roddy Peters, here's the guys we mentioned, comes in. They wanted to spoon feed him on playing the point. And he's starting to handle the pressure pretty nicely. Loves to penetrate, can find guys inside. And most importantly, it frees up Des Wells to do what Des Wells does best, and that's put the ball in the basket.
This is Hallis Cook, freshman out of St. Anthony's in Jersey City. Now Gomez drives, lefty layup, goes.
Nice job. Big fella showing athleticism. There's a young man in Gomez that broke his leg in 2011. Last year they found out it wasn't healing properly, so surgeons had to re-break it again. And he sat out last year. But he seems to be 100% right now. Runs the floor nicely, sets nice screens, although that one, you know what? I put that on the ball handler. They practiced this screen and roll yesterday, all practice. You got to wait for the screener to set the screen before you move.
Instead, it's a Beaver turnover, and the Terps have a 1-point lead. Well, the fans were told to get here early if they wanted to make sure they saw the tip, and most of them heeded that advice as a good crowd is on hand, and the Terps lead by 1 with 11:34 left to play in the half. And college basketball is back Tuesday night with a journey to the tourney matchup as Chris Crawford and the Tigers take on Marcus Smart and the Cowboys. Number 13 Memphis against number 8 Oklahoma State, Tuesday at 8 on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN.
Well, yesterday at practice, Craig Robinson, they worked on screen and roll for a long time. Emphasis on having the screener be allowed to set the screen before the ball handler moves. And on that last play, the turnover, you know, they just forgot about what they learned in practice.
So Wells and Peters in the backcourt for Maryland with Smotrich, Mitchell, and Clear. Mitchell on the block being guarded by Schoftenor. The righty hook, short, but Mitchell gets his own rebound back, and on the second attempt, he gets it in.
Official gives a warning not to delay game after the tip in. Somebody took the ball and put it on the floor. But both big guys, Clear and Mitchell, in the game at the same time, exulting, hitting the offensive glass. And Maryland's a big team right now. You take a look. 3 guys 6'9", 6'10", and you got 2 guards around 6'5".
And it is paying off on the offensive glass right now. The Terps with 8 offensive rebounds. And there's a whistle against Wells. Schoftenor can't hit. Smotrich with the rebound.
And we're talking about Peters again being spoon-fed the point position. He's just doing a nice job right now of making sure everybody's in the right place and then delivering the ball where they can use it.
The 3 by Smotrich opens up a 6-point Maryland lead. There's Nelson. Clear comes all the way out on him. Right down the paint, what a move.
Boy, now you know why this young man in the last 2 games averaged 30 points a game. Didn't take a bad shot. Excellent body control, quick step to the basket, and he's challenging the defenders to guard him, particularly without putting hands on him. You put hands on him, you know you're going to get caught. Bad pass there.
Kind of a half-hearted alley-oop, wasn't sure if it was there. Oregon State picked it off. Under 10 to play now. Cook to Reed.
Reed got away with travel there.
Nelson from the White House buries it.
Somebody better guard that man.
You would think that would be the first line on the scouting report. He has 11. The only player on the floor right now for Oregon State who has scored.
Well, you take a look at Peters right there, using the high screen, forces the zone one way and then delivers a nice jump shot for Smotrich, and then Nelson just weaves his way through the defense. And here, stepping back, just terrific range.
Lehman down to Mitchell. That's his bread and butter.
And that's what he needs to do. Big guys down low, you make a move, you put a lot of pressure on the defenders, particularly now that defenders cannot put that arm bar in your back, push you away, or even hold you. Everybody's so hesitant right now to even get close.
Cook loses control and the ball. Let's check in with Andy Katz.
What you're seeing right now with Roberto Nelson is a classic case of a player who is developing into a leader, into a go-to scorer. Wasn't eligible right away when he came out of high school. Played behind some more experienced and more NBA-ready talent, obviously Jared Cunningham. And now he has taken over this team at a time when Craig Robinson desperately needed a leader and a go-to scorer. And as I talked to him earlier before the game, he's taking advantage of this situation.
Aaron pass by Smotrich up ahead to Nelson. Terps get back and Lehman pokes it away. And again, the Beavers not at full strength here tonight. Won't be for about 13 more games. Eric Moreland suspended for violation of team rules, and the coach saying, you know, at first it was indefinite. He said he's going to feel some pain. 16 games, Len, that's a big chunk of the season.
Yeah, that'll hurt your feelings, but it'll also wake you up. And again, his second offense, and that's why that suspension, at least from what I'm understanding, is so severe. But, you know, he hurt his team as well. This guy is second in the Pac-12 in rebounding, second in blocks, third in field goal percentage. He was just a tremendous force inside for Oregon State, and now they have to play without him. And you take a look inside, without Moreland in there, Maryland's bigs are having their way.
Another assist for Peters. Now Cook. Down to Collier, up and under, he'll go to the line.
But going back to Roberto Nelson for a second, not only are you seeing the development of a leader, but you also see a guy with a sense of urgency. Redshirt senior, this is it for him. He understands that, and that's what you want. You want the light bulb to come on for a lot of these guys, and he's getting his opportunity, no question about it.
Whistle goes against Mitchell, and you see the President of the United States. Obviously, you're probably well aware that he is a huge basketball fan, college and NBA. Collier continues to struggle from the line. Let me ask you, Len, if this was back in your day and you were here playing at Cole Fieldhouse and the president came by, would you be able to focus, you take a peek at him? What would that be like?
Well, unfortunately for us, the president was Nixon, so I probably would have focused on the floor and played the game. And you know, it's 71 to 74. We know what happened in 74. And yes, Watergate does bother me. Does your conscience bother you?
New shot clock for the Terps. Faust attacks. Good defense by Gomez. Now Collier. Backs it up to Barton, gets it back. And he finishes. Good two-man basketball for Oregon State.
That's right, strong to the basket. And that was terrific defense, as you mentioned, by Gomez. Deontay Dodd's got to take that ball strong into the basket. He'll learn. You know, you're in college now.
There's Dodd, back out to Faust. Dodd gets a second chance, he'll go to the line. Oregon State up by 1, but Maryland going to the line when we return to College Park. ESPNU's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Nissan. Innovation that excites. ESPN. ESPNU's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Nissan. Innovation that excites. Welcome back to College Park. The Terps down by 1, 7 minutes left to play. We've been discussing Oregon State undermanned in the front court, but the Terps undermanned in the backcourt as Seth Allen breaking a bone in his left foot in October, not expecting him back until early January.
And it just shows you the value of point guards, pure point guards in this day and age. This game hasn't changed that much. Even back in our day, obviously point guard's very important. I played with one of the best there was in John Lucas.
Well, earlier before the game, I talked to head coach Mark Turgeon, and he said that the best case scenario actually be for Seth Allen to return around December 28th or 29th. That would put it back for that Tulsa game after Christmas, and they're hoping in a best case scenario that he'd be able to start the ACC regular season, although they have that game at BC. But the heart of it, I should say, when they host Georgia Tech on January 4th. He just got the cast off. He's got that boot on the left foot, and as Turgeon said, this really kind of messed with them because it happened right before the season. They really weren't prepared for it, for that UConn game to handle not having Seth Allen on the floor.
And we can see right now the impact. Maryland once again turning the ball over and allowing Oregon State to get 12 points off of their 6 turnovers.
Dodd almost comes up with a turnover from Maryland, but the Beavers get it back.
But the Terps have been able to neutralize points off turnovers with getting 10 second chance points off 8 offensive rebounds.
Malcolm DeVivier, number 11, out there for Oregon State. There's a whistle on the floor. So right now, Coach Robinson sends out Gomez, Barton, Robbins, Collier, and DeVivier. That call goes against Dodd.
Yeah, DeMonte Dodd, again, a freshman, learning how to play in the post. And that time he allowed his opponent to get position. You got to do your homework early in this game. You got to take position away before the ball is swung around so that they can deliver it.
So a brief run for DeVivier earns him a seat right next to the head coach. So they send Collier back to the line where he is just 1 of 4 here in the first half.
But I don't mind seeing that. I mean, DeVivier, he's a freshman. Coach brought him down, and there's no yelling, screaming. He's sitting him down, and he's teaching.
Collier's been a major factor here, and he now has 9.
See some full court pressure right now. DeVivier getting ready to come back in the ball game, and that's essentially what that substitution was for, to give him a little more tutelage, make sure he understands what's expected of him.
Layman, the 3 doesn't drop. And a reminder that the Men's College Soccer Championship continues tonight on ESPNU at 10:30. It's the match to decide the inaugural American Athletic Conference champion when South Florida takes on Connecticut. The American Men's College Soccer Championships tonight at 10:30 on ESPNU. Both matches also live on Watch ESPN. Earlier today on ESPNU, Maryland winning the ACC championship. They just put that score up on the scoreboard here. So the
high-scoring affair. Beat Virginia 1-0.
1-0. 1-0. Caught yourself there. So Smotrich will go to the line.
And that's what Evan Smotrich brings to this team. A certain level of calmness, experience. When he gets the ball inside, takes his time, ball fakes, gets the defenders in the air. As a stretch 4, he's been able to knock down threes and really do what he's supposed to do, open the floor. And the pleasant surprise for Mark Turgeon is he's been able to rebound very well, averaging about 7 rebounds a game coming into this, the 3rd game Maryland's played.
Evan Smotrich, as you said, the transfer from Michigan, kind of an inopportune time that he left the Wolverines the season before they played for the national championship game against Louisville. But he wanted to get in a better situation. Obviously, John Beilein had somewhat recruited over him, but this was a great situation for him to join Maryland at a time when he could sit out, get better, and obviously contribute in a more effective manner here this season. As Glenn knows, too many people are getting waivers these days. He actually did it the old-fashioned way. He sat out, improved his body and his game.
Yeah, and you kind of admire that, too, simply because it was all about change of scenery and, having the patience to do that. So many guys find ways, around the corner, maybe push the rule a little bit to get that waiver.
Robbins with the steal and finishes. finish up the point on Smotrich, a good article recently in the Washington Post about him watching that championship game with his Maryland teammates, and really no regrets at all. You would think that, you know, you watch your former team go that far, but he said, as you pointed out, change of scenery, and, you know, he needed a better place for himself.
And again, if John Beilein recruited over him, he might not have been playing at all.
Right.
He might have been watching the same way he was watching with the Maryland teammate.
To add to Len's point, Mark Turgeon actually told me that it might have been better if Des Wells had actually sat out last season, got adjusted, and then came back this season after transferring from Xavier. Now, he's not complaining he had him last season. They obviously made the appeal, they won, and he played. But in hindsight, he's still, for everyone sitting out and not having these waivers and winning these appeals, to play right away.
Yeah, it's all about chemistry. It's all about adjusting to the new personnel, the new system.
Big block there. Wells. Faust wants the alley-oop, but Wells sends it back to Smotrich. And Collier just takes it away. It's a race to the hoop.
Good hustle.
It looks like it was Cook there.
Excellent hustle by Hollis Cook. Never gave up on the play. And Smotrich, as much as we sung his praises, the cardinal sin is to put the ball over your head and allow the defender to get up in your grill. And now you got no place to put it, and they can easily take it away from you.
This is a play that has to make Bob Hurley very happy back in Jersey City. A senior out of St. Anthony's with the turnover, and then a freshman out of St. Anthony's the putback.
You saw Smotrich with the ball over his head, and you know the defender got in his grill, forced him to bring it back, and after being double teamed, he got stripped. Put that ball in triple threat position and be strong with the ball. That way you can avoid exactly what happened there.
So it was actually Nelson with the putback. I was screened out of there, thought it was Cook, so you can't take 2 points away from Nelson. He might be on his way to a career high the way he's going this year. And as you see the Wells, the long two. They call it a three. He was behind the arc.
Maryland scores. It gives them a chance to try to apply some full court pressure. That was token.
Wells now 2 for 6. Under 4.5. They weren't ready for the backdoor cut. Collier throws it away. Robbins kind of gave up on the cut.
That's a good pass, good delivery. You're right, the receiver didn't have his hands up. If you're going to go back door, you might as well be ready for the pass. You know, not walk through the motions.
Maryland with the ball down by 1. Wells in the paint. Can't finish. Gomez with the rebound.
That was a hard screen set on one of the top defenders in the zone by Shaq Clear. That gave Wells that lane down the middle.
Faust out on Nelson. Double from Clear, puts it on the floor. And he gets it for the Turks.
One of the few poor decisions made by Roberto Nelson that time, forcing the issue.
Faust, rejected. Numbers on the run out. Nelson, Wells gets back, no, and they do call a foul. Nelson has been all over the place here tonight. When we return, Andy Katz will have more on the Beavers' trip to the White House yesterday. That's coming up when we return to College Park. Everything good? I'm getting it to you all right?
Everything's good. Everything's good.
He also earned 3 ACC All-Conference honors on his way to being a Rhodes Scholar.
A Rhodes Scholar. Clap for my teammate.
There you go.
Give me some. Give me some love. Give me some. Give me some love.
for your dinner. Get ready to show us your moves. Let's dance.
Thank you. All right, back here in College Park. The president lives closer to Maryland, but he's rooting for the visitors here tonight, we imagine. And yesterday he hosted the Beavers. For more on that, we send it back over to Andy Katz.
Well, one of the perks of being a member of Oregon State in the last 4 years is you get a trip to the White House every year, and Saturday was no different for these Beaver players. They got to tour the White House, spent 10 minutes in the Oval Office with the president and his wife, Michelle Obama, and took some pictures, took a couple of shots on the presidential court. A year ago, they didn't play in this area, but they did a community service project with the First Family. So they've been around, and to have a first-name basis with the First Family is obviously pretty special for these players. Roberto Nelson telling me this never gets old. He's going to miss it after he graduates.
Roberto Nelson also telling the local media that, you know, he's played video games with the Obama's children, and you know, he shot hoops at the White House, tried to get the president into a game of horse or one-on-one, but President Obama didn't take the bait.
Oh boy.
So the Beavers up by 2 as Peters walks it up and goes high off the window for the hoop.
Maryland using a high screen very nicely against the zone, creating space and lanes for drivers. Good hand.
Good hustle. Peters keeps it himself and finishes with the left.
Solid fundamentals that time. As Peters kind of backed the defender, got him on his heels, and he used the proper hand.
He used to come here as a kid, watch Steve Blake and Juan Dixon. Now he has a chance to shine as a Terp himself. Beavers get free. That's Njai with the bucket.
Speaking of fundamentals, that was excellent right there. Njai just drop step to the basket again, using his left hand. You're starting to see better prepared players, and I think a lot of that had to do with, you know, getting more and more tutelage on the college level.
Clear knocks it out of bounds, so it'll be Oregon State ball, and the NIT season tip-off is on ESPNU Monday at 7. Jabari Parker and the number 4 Duke Blue Devils host UNC Asheville. Then at 11, Fairleigh Dickinson heads west to take on Aaron Gordon and the number 6 Arizona Wildcats. NIT season tip-off Monday on ESPNU. Both games also live on Watch ESPN. Jabari Parker, Aaron Gordon living up to the hype so far in the young season. Take a look at their stats so far. Parker out of Chicago, Gordon out of the Bay Area, making an immediate impact to say the least.
Well, Jabari Parker in particular, over 20 points the first 3 games at Duke, and Aaron Gordon is one of those guys relentless. You take a look at his rebound average, he goes to the board hard. And I'll tell you what, I'm not a fan of, you know, preseason publicity that's been heaped upon all of these guys, but when they start to play and they live up to it, more power to them, they deserve it. They just don't like to see the pressure placed on them prior to them actually playing. The expectations are far beyond, in many cases, what they'll ever be able to succeed. Like when you hear people compare Andrew Wiggins' impact on Kansas to Wilt Chamberlain's impact, that is wholly unfair. Andrew Wiggins is a great player and will be a great player, but sometimes people get carried away.
Just a little bit. So Collier now in double digits with Nelson after the 2 free throws. Oregon State back on top. Jonathan Graham gets blocked, the transfer out of Penn State.
Son of Ernest Graham, a Maryland player from the past who still holds a single game scoring record. I think it's like 44 points.
Against NC State. Lehman short on the 3. Collier can't grab the rebound. Smotrich gets it back.
He played for the same coach I played with, Lefty Driesell. I didn't think anybody could get that many shots in that system. And we still won.
Well, that's that old line about your rivals down in Chapel Hill, right? The only guy who could keep Michael Jordan under 20 was Dean Smith.
Yeah, you're right about that. And it takes a keen eye to recognize that superior talent when that happens.
Faust, a junior from Baltimore, had a team high 17 in the close loss to Connecticut in the opener. And Jonathan Graham's dad's number's up in the rafters, so is my partner's. Always got to be nice to come back home to the alma mater.
Well, you see to the right of that Tom McMillan, who was just honored here today as honorary captain, and to the left of it, John Lucas, the point guard I spoke of earlier, who was a consummate point guard. You know, knew exactly how to distribute the ball, could score when necessary. And I call him a pretty good defender because he would usually funnel guys to me and I could block the shots.
So he let you pad your stats on both sides.
Yeah.
Now Collier over to Nelson. The ball fake. Pull up. No call on Gomez. Mark Turgeon can't believe there wasn't a whistle on that one. A lot of contact. Lehman puts it on the floor. That shows he can do more than just hit the open 3.
That's an athlete right there, folks. Fundamentally sound with the ball fake. Got the defenders to raise up. And once you raise up, center of gravity's too high to move laterally quick enough.
Nelson splits and draws the whistle.
Maryland down number 1, having Smotrich, his second personal 10th on the team.
Take a look at the pump fake right there. Defender gets off his feet. Backline defender too far under the basket to really be able to provide any help. And Jake Lehman right there with a picture-perfect ball fake, take it to the rim.
He had 19 points in the win over Abilene Christian, despite not starting due to a deep thigh bruise.
And when we speak of fundamentals, that's a great example of understanding how to play the game, but also having something upon which you can build. If Jake Lehman is doing that as a sophomore, I'd love to see what he's going to be doing as a senior. His ability to knock down threes, his athleticism. You know, he's got no limit to what he's going to be able to do, particularly with that size at 6'8".
All right, so Varun Ram checks in for Maryland. And Jarmal Reed, excuse me, in for Oregon State. Final minute of play here in the first half.
Now, you tell you what, I mean, with all this hubbub about the first family being here and the excitement, I think a lot of people forgot about the fact that this is going to be a pretty good game, and it is.
Jeter's too strong on the hoop. The Oregon State ball, about a 7-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock.
Two pretty equally matched teams have different strengths, been able to go to those strengths, and that's why this game is as tight as it is. Oregon State up 1.
Lehman can't come up with the steal, but Oregon State turns it over anyway. Gomez says, my bad. Maybe one dribble too many out of the big fella. 10th turnover in the half.
When the big fellas try to imitate point guards, you know, if they don't succeed, you're darn right it's their fault.
Is that what John Lucas said back in the day? He came, grabbed the ball out of your hands and said, Len, I'll take care of that?
He never had to worry about that. It was the outlet pass, and hopefully all I had to do was get to half court, watch him lay it up.
So Maryland can hold for 1 if it wants to. Take a lead into the locker room.
And it's a good opportunity again to execute. They had 2 chances to beat UConn down the stretch, and last shot as far as regulation is concerned. And they gave it to Des Wells, and Wells created a couple of good shots. but might have been able to get better shots. This is the way to work on those right now.
Smotrich under 5. No, now there is a whistle. So there's your execution.
Exactly. Wells was the decoy. Smotrich got it, found an opening, and he made an aggressive move to the basket. Didn't settle for a jumper.
Returns for Oregon State. 2, Ronnie Peters, 1 therapist.
So Wells go to the bench to make sure he doesn't pick up a foul in the final 3 seconds of the half. Smotrich misses the second. A good job by Peters to get in the way of that with 0.6 left, and in fact he turns it over, so Maryland with a chance here. And of course, as soon as I say that, Wells right back out there. Who's your leaper to cut to the rim? Good if it goes. Oh! Look at the smile on his face. They, of course, are going to take another look, but maybe not what they were hoping for, but they have to appreciate it.
Look. Oh, take a look right there. Nice inbounds pass. Wells gets a good look. Doesn't rush. Ah, boy, that's close.
That is close. Live, it certainly looked good. The officials put their hands up. Looked like it was out of his hands before the red light.
Ah, you know, it's tough. We could slow it down. That's the only way.
This is the angle. It's still in his hands.
Yep. Clock, light, buzzer.
It's not going to be a very popular call here in College Park.
0 was there before it left his hands.
Let's send it over to Andy Katz.
All right, thanks, guys. Well, you just heard from the officials. That's good. What did you want to try to get out of these last couple possessions?
Well, we wanted to score. We wanted to guard somebody, Andy. Nelson's a pretty good player. We never recognized that the whole first half. Collier's a pretty good player. We never recognized that the whole first half. Really disappointed in our defense. We're walking on eggshells down there on offense. We're not, you know, Roddy Peters is the only one that attacked the zone worth a flip. So really disappointed, to be quite honest with you, in our effort.
So going into the halftime, based on that, what are you going to tell these guys to make sure that they're in sync a little bit more in the second 20 minutes?
Well, we'll have the offense in front of us. That should help, and you know, hopefully we'll guard better. You know, we've built this program, and every program I've been on defending and rebounding, and we're not doing that yet.
All right, thank you, Mark.
Okay, thank you.
Let's go to Matt Schick and Dino Gaudio in the ESPNU Sports Center studio in Charlotte.
You are watching ESPN's college basketball coverage of the ACC on ESPN between Oregon State and Maryland. We are at the Comcast Center in College Park, Maryland. Due to time constraints, we move ahead in our action. You are watching ESPN's college basketball coverage of the ACC on ESPN between Oregon State and Maryland. We are at the Comcast Center in College Park, Maryland. Due to time constraints, we move ahead in our action after these messages. You are watching the ACC on ESPN between Oregon State and Maryland. We are at the Comcast Center in College Park, and we are at halftime. ESPN College Basketball is available live anytime, anywhere on your computer, tablet, or smartphone at watchespn.com and with the Watch ESPN app. We will return to College Park after these messages.
For